Hey everybody, Happy New Year. I just got some very wild news, and I'm sure you've seen it. It unfolded 4 hours ago. Although I was informed about it via a friend, and they made calls. Oakland Athletics president Dave Kaval has resigned, and the report is that he resigned to pursue other opportunities after a, a great 8-year run. But I met Dave and the press conferences here on Zenny 62 YouTube at his introduction, and that was April of 2017, actually before that. And so we had our first conversation about Howard Terminal April 4th of 2017 at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. But I digress. My point is, I met Dave when he started the job. And the point is that of that press conference, he was there with the A's specifically to build a new stadium for the organization. That's why he was there. And it seemed that, and I thought, but whatever happened, someone said to me, a friend said to me something I've got to repeat. And this person said that Dave had not been attending the owners' meetings. Well, consider that Dave Kaval is the president of the Athletics. And yet the president of the Athletics was not at the owners' meetings. So who was? Well, John Fisher. Okay. Maybe it's an indication of a philosophical dispute. It's definitely an indication that there is a difference of opinion and direction between John and Dave, because even the athletic statement didn't leave any room for the idea that that the parting was amicable. It's just, hey, he went to pursue other opportunities. Think about the psychology of writing that. Well, he's leaving us. Well, we're in the middle of a major ballpark development, right? So when Catherine put that out, and I hope Catherine's still with the organization, that was indication something was really wrong. Because your first thought as an organization is to maintain an image of stability in a project like this, particularly if you are still, even though you're advancing through, you're still dotting I's and crossing T's regarding the project. On the other hand, as I think about the progress, they did get the non-relocation agreement done. That's a milestone, a major one for anybody who understands what non-relocation agreements are, which basically they say, hey, look, you are not going to relocate from, in this case, Las Vegas. You're going to stay here, and you are going to build this stadium and see it through to its operation, housing the Las Vegas Athletics. And then on top of all that, there are the other aspects of the project that Dave saw through to their completion. The schedule, this is major too. The schedule, materials buying for the ballpark, for those people who say, well, it's not going to be built like Scott Robin. Well, they're buying materials for the damn thing. Okay, they're writing checks to buy materials for it. All right, or using credit cards or whatever, however they pay for it. The bottom line is, I would think it's credit card. But the bottom line is, they are buying these materials to go into this construction schedule to complete this ballpark that is, clocking in at $2 billion. And now, was there some cost issue? I had to put my finger on it. Someone said, Zenny, what would you think, or how did you think Dave ran the project, right? I was quite impressed because Dave was given a hard job to begin with in terms of getting a ballpark done in Oakland. Because, look, we haven't seen one done in Oakland in a very long time, not since 1998 when we rebuilt the arena for the Warriors. Okay? So I would have to believe that there was something occurred that John and Sandy and the top brass didn't like. And, or it's either that or something else. Maybe, since, as it was pointed out to me, I thought maybe, again, Dave didn't want to, maybe Dave's family said, hey, look, we don't want to go. But as was pointed out to me by a friend, Kaval's kids are grown. And then you wonder, hey, if that's the case, did something happen to, hopefully not one of his kids, that led to this? And in that case, I really pray, I pray for him anyway, but I pray that his family is safe and whatever it is, it gets resolved very quickly, and positively. So those are the avenues you have to consider. One of them is not like, hey, we're not going to do the ballpark. I mean, that's anybody thinking that proves that they're amateurish in the whole business to begin with. There's the whole idea that one person doesn't stop any show, and this is certainly that. Maybe Dave felt like, or maybe the athletics and Dave felt like it was time to give way to somebody who could take them on the next course where they need to go with the stadium. That certainly makes sense to me. That makes a lot of sense to me. But it still makes you wonder. All right, it still makes you wonder. It really does make you wonder. It really does. And I'm going to do some more digging as well to find out what's going on. Well, by the way, for those of you watching the funeral for Rickey Henderson is not going to happen at Paramount. And I'm going to put out a new notification about that. That in and of itself was a very wild and sad process. And it turns out that, for example, NBC Bay Area ran, and still has the headline about the funeral. They're ones that ran it. But when you go to the article, it doesn't mention the funeral at all. And that's, as far as I'm concerned, that's not the best way to handle anything. If there was a difference in information, one should say, hey, look, we have a difference of information here. And if it's a confusing and hinky climate where information that's being passed around isn't reliable, tell people, right? As I'm telling you, the passing of Rickey Henderson has been a very gnarly affair. There's no other way to put it. There's a lot of divisions of unusual kinds, I'll put it that way. And I deliberately worded it to sound like Close Encounters of a Third Kind. There are people who want things to go a certain way in the family versus others who want things to go a certain other way, who are also in the family, although more accurately described as good associates. So it's an unfortunate and very sad situation, even to the point of Rickey's death, which really wasn't pneumonia, and arguably was misdiagnosed as that. Yeah, it's being reported as that. Let me tell you something, folks. Rickey Henderson was 64 years old. You want to say 65 come Christmas? Fine. Let me put it this way. You have a 92% survival rate if you have pneumonia. 92%. Why would a person, once considered one of the greatest athletes of our time, and still is, be within that 8% that didn't make it? That really calls a lot into question. Okay, it really calls a lot into question. I mean, the family, his side of the family put out this statement that was complimentary of UCSF. I, frankly speaking, thought they should have left that out, given what I've been told. And it's unfortunate that the doctor involved wasn't more thorough. As I understand it, he was on vacation. So, like I said, it's not a good situation. It just isn't. It just isn't. Now, back to Kaval. I just want to see something here. Because sometimes there's stuff flying around that you don't necessarily see unless, of course, you look. And there are people, there, all these people are basically, they're tweeting are people who are basically saying, hey, look, they are happy he's gone, or that maybe they had something to do with it, and where they're saying good riddance, calling him an empty suit. Now, I'm going to say this, okay? I thought, I mean, there are people who think that Dave is unhireable. There are people who think that Dave is unhireable even within the athletics. I don't see. Well, let me take that back. That's not true. Exactly. All I will say is that the persons that I've talked to, plural, are not surprised that Dave is gone. Okay? The people I talk to are not surprised that Dave is gone. I am. I like Dave. He was always nice to me. As recently as just texting, a little while ago. Let's leave it at that. So something happened. Something happened. Something abrupt. Something sudden. Something, or you know what? Maybe it's got to be that. It's got to be that. Because what was going through my mind is, hey, maybe you're thinking about hey, by the first of the year you do X, right? Something happened, or as I said to another friend, maybe he got a great offer in Las Vegas he couldn't refuse. But I believe Dave did a great job with a very complicated project. It was complicated in the Oakland place because, hey, look, the city was not doing Dave any favors. All right? The way Libby and Shang handled it, Libby more than Shang, because by the time Shang got to it, the A's were basically all but gone anyway. But the city did not hold up its end of the bargain in terms of accomplishing its tasks, like establishing the Enhanced Infrastructure Financing District and Tax Increment Financing Zone. Those were Oakland tasks, and Dave came on my show and said again and again and again and again and again and again and again, every time he came on, that he hadn't received the sources and uses document from the city. In other words, where the sources of money are going to be, and then the uses for the ballpark and the project from their perspective, laying out the monies that the city of Oakland is responsible for either paying or catalyzing the payment of. And so he got nothing. And that's why I said, I've seen this movie before. The A's should leave. And I still stand behind that. The way the city of Oakland treated the Oakland Athletics, by not getting things done, by not working time on task. You understand? Time on task is a punishable offense. It is sad that there are so many athletics fans who don't understand development, that they don't see the government's role, and therefore they allow the government to basically screw up. on your backs, and really, if you think about it from a season ticket holder's perspective, on your dime. All right, on your dime. That happened on your dime, and yet you let the city, you gave the city a pass, a giant one, and the city of Oakland and the county of Alameda don't deserve it. And I love the people that represent it. They're friends of mine, in a number of cases, great friends of mine. But this was not handled properly. Okay? It was not handled properly by the city. Now we come to Las Vegas where everything is handled properly. Again, there's a whole schedule of materials that's being purchased. All right? Steel Rider says, Brian says he was a snake in the end. Well, I think, there's that. And I'll get to that in a second, what that means. He wasn't a snake to me. Okay, Brandon. He wasn't a snake to me. And so I don't know, you can only talk from your own perspective. And that's my perspective. I didn't get that side of him. I just didn't. So I can't ride with that opinion. Yeah, I can't. Because John Fisher was guiding Dave. And if you want to blame anybody, blame him. But also, I say blame the city. Again, you guys give the A's too much blame and you give the city none. You'll parenthetically mention the city. But if you had any understanding of how development was supposed to go, you just stormed the city a long time ago. The simple fact that you let the city off the hook, that when you walked into City Hall, you were on your best behavior, which is great, but I'm saying you didn't question a thing. You played along and became the minions of the mayor. That's what you did. Okay? That's what you did. And you thought it was going to get you a ballpark or the return of the A's, and it got you nothing. It got the A's to Sacramento even before Las Vegas, which really, if the city had done what it was supposed to do, reminds me of that line from Reservoir Dogs. If they had done what they were supposed to do when I told them to do it, it wouldn't have happened. Something like that. My point is that if the city had handled its business when it was supposed to handle it, in particular tax increment financing, and that was back in 2020, we wouldn't be talking about this. The A's would be in Oakland. Okay? The A's would be in Oakland. That's just a fact. Now, people leave when they're presidents for different reasons. Like Mark Bedane left the Raiders because he had a philosophical difference with Mark Davis. So generally, when an owner parts ways with a president, it's for reasons along those lines. So we have to assume it was that's the case in this instance too. There was some difference of opinion. Unless Dave felt it necessary to leave because one of his family members needed help and he could no longer see the project through. I hope his wife is okay. Okay? So it's either one or the other. I'm not saying there couldn't be a third, but at this point it's hard for me. It's hard for me to really say what that third option could be. It really is. Does it derail the project? No, it does not. Because again, the project is far enough along where they can bring in somebody else equally experienced or better, in this instance, that has more of a Las Vegas tie. Now you would say, Zinni, what do you mean? And what I mean is this, okay? I mean that, and I'll just say it. I mean that Dave didn't. Dave rubbed some of the wrong people the wrong way in Las Vegas. Unfortunately, I know this firsthand from a number of people who were involved with, and I'm not going to name the organizations because I want to protect the people, but these are some of the organizations that are involved directly with the approvals that have been let for the ballpark. And Dave, he, how do I say that? It's always trust. This part is not an abnormal description. Dave likes to twist an environment to make sure it fits his outcomes. That action isn't always understood by people. Unfortunately, the action is done to people that he's partnered with who he didn't properly communicate his desire for a change of course. Or that he was, okay? He says, this, Artie Moss says, rumor has he's working with Joe Lacob to move the Warriors to Las Vegas. That, Artie says he's just kidding. But the whole point is, let me put some other spin on this that I'm saying, okay? My point is that one of the people who does not like Dave Kaval is Mark Davis. The Raiders are very, to this day, now and past, very upset with how he handled the stadium issue in Oakland. And that was that. I mean, it doesn't take much for the Raiders and their culture. Loyalty is a big deal with the Raiders, which is a great thing. Think about it. They thought that they had to deal with him regarding the Coliseum, and they didn't. And to this day, it does not sit well with Mark Bedane. It does not sit well with Mark Davis. And I got to the point where I don't even ask Mark about his opinion regarding what Dave was doing. I didn't at the draft. We were at the owners' meeting in Atlanta. I didn't bring Dave up. I should have, though. I should have, But I knew what I was going to get anyway, and maybe I should have brought it up just knowing I was going to get an occasional expletive, some comment that basically distills to "I don't give a blank," that sort of thing. All right. Artie says Sandy is the great. You think Sandy becomes the interim president? Let me put it this way. Somewhere along the way, Dave made somebody very unhappy. All right? Somewhere along the way that led to this, Dave made somebody very unhappy. All right? And if it's not that, then it's a family issue. It's either one or the other. And again, if there's a third, I want to hear it. I can't, the other possibilities don't point in even better directions anyway. So, but Dave did something that didn't make the organization very happy. You can read, the press release allows you to read between the lines. People I've talked to say they're not surprised. And these are not outsiders either. Okay? Okay? And it's unfortunate. I think it's unfortunate. And the idea is, who's going to hire him? Well, we'll see what happens. Dave has accomplishments. Remember, he has the Earthquake Stadium. But whatever but his future will rest on whatever happened in this instance. You know that, and I know that. All right? You know that, and I know that. Let me get the comments here. I got that one. So are you surprised? I was initially surprised, yeah. But, and I still am. Okay, again, see, you all, I get it, don't like Dave. I like Dave. All right, again, Dave Kaval has not given me a concrete reason to dislike him. Sad news. Brian Gumbel's brother died of cancer at 78. Wow. 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 Whew. Oh boy. Not a good period, boy. Then it says rumor has he's working with Lake Up to move the Warriors to Las Vegas, but then he says just kidding. Sandy Dean is a great guy. I've talked to him multiple times. Yes. It says that in the statement. Dave pissed off somebody important, probably. Well, it's always been somebody important, you know. Not to which there are those who are going to say, what do you mean? The fans aren't important. The fans are very important. Very. But the person that he pissed off that was important was John Fisher. Ta-da! Okay? Right here. Yeah. It says Dave pissed off somebody very important, probably. Yeah, John, I would think. If we're going in the direction of who he pissed off, right? Because you don't want the scenario where the owner wasn't the one he pissed off, because then it implies that there was some sort of impropriety going on, and that the owner was supportive of him, but he thought, hey, maybe the best thing for you to do is to leave. You know? So, hey, Sacramento Kings fired Mike Brown, by the way. Just got an extension in June, then turned around and fired him. You only get fired when you argue with people. Somebody said something the wrong way when they said it. I believe that's true for Mike Brown, and maybe that's true for Dave Kaval. Let's see here. It says Vegas will be a mistake for any baseball team, especially in a dreaded dome. No, that's not true. Okay, for the simple reason that, I mean, I don't understand how people can wrap their minds around that idea. Look, I know you don't like that the Athletics have moved. Again, you should be mad at the city of Oakland. All right? And the city's collapse should be enough of a key to you that, hey, something was really wrong there, all right? But as far as, hey, Steve, I am enjoying my holidays with my mom, yes. Vegas will be a mistake. No, they'll clear $700 million in revenue first year. It's just it's too perfect, this situation with a path-breaking facility. It's just too perfect. Okay, just too perfect. The other thing I could think that they may have done, it may have to do with some aspect of the partnerships. And I know, okay, what I mean by that is that there was this press release that was put out by CCA's arm that deals with sponsorships, that they were taking lead on the A's sponsorships. That was 2023. Then in the introduction of 2024, Legends came up. And so it's like, okay, well, who's in charge here? Now, Dave is at the center of setting all that up. Why would there be that kind of dysfunction? Okay? Maybe it's something related to that. Matthew Green says, not to change the subject, but do you have any opinion on the Rays ballpark ordeal? Yes, I do. And I think first of all, the state of Florida should be right there, front and center, helping them find their next home, and making sure that happens. The simple fact that the Rays are having the bumps that they're having is exemplary of how poorly economic development is done in some areas of the country. And unfortunately, it would seem in this instance that's the case with Florida. Then he says, didn't learn how Vegas works. Come back later. Yeah, I think this is what it is, Vegas Mark. It's about how Vegas works. And you know, Vegas Mark, I'm glad you posted that, because a friend of mine back in Vegas, Las Vegas, said that Dave needed allies. And that quote, Dave Kaval was pissing off the wrong people. One of them was Mark Davis already. Okay? But he said Dave Kaval was pissing off the wrong people. Alright? And so maybe he pissed off, finally, you know, his final wrong person. And therefore, maybe the next president of the Athletics will have ties, and this wouldn't surprise me, in Las Vegas. And maybe that was the whole part of it. Maybe to take them the next level here, or next steps, they needed somebody who was really a Las Vegas player. With respect to sponsorships, agreements, just knowing the businesses there, knowing the way. All right. And since when have domes become popular in baseball? Since you want to have a facility that allows you to get more money to get it built and operated, like that, you know, like, you know, since you started saying to pay people like the Rolling Stones, hey, we want you to play in our facility, and Stones say, well, oh, is it going to rain? You know, kind of like, you think about that? Yeah. Steve May says, do you think the A's will sell out year after year? I think once they get the stadium smell is gone, yeah, they'll be selling it out for quite a while, because of the nature of the way society has changed, so that the business traveler is actually a culture. And they're people who take their business wherever they go. They do their jobs wherever they go, like me. And I didn't realize this was a thing until recently. I thought, wow, you mean folks like me are really like a thing now? There's that many of us? And there are. So you can say, I'm going to make a special trip to Vegas. And it's good business and pleasure automatically. So yeah, Steve says exactly. Yeah, so yeah, they'll sell out, just not in the traditional way. I would have gone to Salt Lake or something. I wouldn't have. Period. Vegas economic model isn't the Anytown A's model. No, it's not. But then, you know, you're right. It never had. It wasn't. It's not in the case of the Raiders. If people say, well, look at the Raiders, nobody's going to the games, right? Well, brokers are putting money in the pockets of the Raiders. Brokers get those tickets, they put them on secondary ticket market. That activity alone puts money in the Raiders' pocket, straight up. They got their first round of money, then when the ticket resales come out, they get their second round of money. So the Raiders are making bank. You can say what you want to about how those seats look, but the Raiders are just basically sitting pretty. And Mark Davis is in his new $14 million home laughing his butt off. Baseball fans historically don't like domes. No, you know what? Of all the people here I see saying that, I only see one person saying that. You. Just, you know, I like domes. People keep forgetting that the new ballpark will also be used for non-baseball events. Well, that's what I'm trying to explain to this, this young man or whoever. But that, I mean, if you don't get it by now, geez. What's driving the cost of these stadiums in the need for all of this, in part, or I may rephrase that, what's driving the need for stadiums that put out the revenue that they do, like 700 million the first year and so on, are player salaries. So you have a player that's 725 million now. And that basically calls for you to build something like a city to pay for that player's salary. And that's what's happening. The next iteration of ballparks will be truly villages. You'll be able to live in them. You know? Okay? Now, I know this is happening. Kev F. Nope, it doesn't mean that Vegas is not happening. And again, the idea is Kev, you're making the same mistake that was made regarding the Raiders. Oh, it's a small TV market, and yet look at what they're doing with terms of tickets. I mean, when are you going to learn? You know? Yeah, seriously. This is a math problem. All right, of a different kind. And the math problem says, hey, I get 40 million people visiting me annually. Don't you want to be with me? Whereas in the Bay Area, you are lucky to get maybe 22 million total, and that's the total region. Okay? All right? You got one place, Vegas, 40 million people. You're adding to that. You're bringing your fans there that have never made a trip to Las Vegas for a ballpark, baseball event. All right? They haven't. And so now this is a new thing. They're there. Hey, it's a new thing. All right. And so, excuse me. And so they're now at this place where they believe, and I think rightly so, that they're going to get audiences that spend money and make it a vacation in a way they've never done in Oakland. And you want to know something? They would be right. They'll be absolutely right. Absolutely right. And a whole lot of money. All it takes is a visit. You're going there, you're visiting, you're spending money. And then there's gambling. Don't forget that too. All right? Gambling is the new mother's milk for sports. Why? Because of hinky rights fees. Why do I say they're hinky? Look what's going on with all these different platforms. You know, you've got Netflix one day, you've got Netflix one day, you've got Peacock the other day, YouTube this day. And the question is, okay, where are they going to be in 10 years? We used to be able to count on the networks, and right now we still can. But for how long? I'm talking with respect to the National Football League. Now, the good news is that the way you can get rights monies in sports is really exploding, okay? It really is, all right? I didn't get that one here. Matthew Green. Hey, Matthew. I'm trying to get the rest of these comments here. People keep forgetting the new ballpark. Right. I got you, Kev, okay? Owner of AAA team was not a fan of Dave. You think they got in a fist fight? Kev S says Oakland said the same thing during the Nevada legislature season last year. Well, yeah, and Oakland said the same thing about the Raiders, too. A closed roof venue for anything but baseball would be good, but not baseball. That's not the point, though. See, the point is that, and this goes back to something that Eric Grubman said to me that hit home, and maybe this will hit home with you. Eric Grubman was the senior vice president, executive vice president of business affairs for the NFL at the time. This was 2016. I went to the Charlotte NFL owners meeting and I sought out Eric because I had a specific question. And the question was, I said, Eric, why is it that you're allowing the Raiders to seek ownership of the stadium in the Oakland parlance, but you're setting up a scenario where the Las Vegas Stadium Authority and Clark County will be the owners of the stadium, the public owner? Why is that? I thought they wanted to own the stadium, they being the Raiders. And Eric said, Zinni, what is there a difference if I own all of the money that the stadium makes? And I said, oh, that's the situation. He goes, yeah. So you mean concerts there, Raiders make money? Yeah. That's the case for the A's. All right. So when you say a closed roof venue for anything, baseball would be good, but not for baseball. In this instance, it is good for baseball because it allows the Athletics to afford the players there that they couldn't afford in the Coliseum. And it really underscores the degree to which A's fans do not understand the fiscal difficulties their own team was dealing with just by structure. And you would say, Zinni, what do you mean by structure? I mean by a lease that says, hey, look, you don't get concert revenues. You don't get advertising revenues from other places. You don't get all the parking revenues for anything that happens here. Okay? Imagine if the Athletics did. Imagine if the city renegotiated contracts to say, look, we'll give you a portion of event revenues. All right? It'd be a different picture. But they didn't do that. And you never ask why. You always go with what the city tells you against the big bad rich owner. Okay? And that's not a good thing. And then you say you're a fan of the team. I mean, great to be critical, but some of you all, okay? Okay? So again, a closed roof is good for everything and baseball. Steve Macy says, changing the subject, I can't believe the same year the A's leave, we lose Rickey. Yep. He was and always will be my favorite player of all team. Rest in paradise. Yep. And by the way, folks, again, I repeat, that funeral event is not happening. I need to put out a new communication about that. Very messy situation. Matthew Green says, Las Vegas has a large corporate base that makes up for TV size, which isn't that bad. But it's not the corporate base, Matthew. It's the visitors. 40 million visitors. Think about it. You know how many people live in the Bay Area? 8 million. Okay? 8 times 5 is 40. So you have 5 Bay Areas that visit the Las Vegas every year. 5. That's enormous. That's huge. That's crazy. It's money. It's the big picture example of the idea that we always learned. You learn it in business, you learn it in planning. Location, 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 right? Real estate. Location, location, location. Why? Because you're looking for where you want to be where the market is. Well, Las Vegas has a consumer market. People go there to spend money to do things. I mean, how pure is that? This is the one activity that cannot be, for now, interrupted by the internet or AI. You want to be there. You want to see your team. You want to be in the environment that allows you to be there and see your team in a comfortable way, in a fun way. Las Vegas presents that. By contrast, I got completely laughed at by people when I said, hey, look, let's build a hotel tower, 2 hotel towers at the Coliseum, call it, for my idea of Coliseum City, and a shopping center between the arena and the stadium. All right? But we still need that, folks. Okay? Oh, this is because people moving to Vegas. I also heard, yeah, it's that. It's more than people moving to Vegas, though. Carlos, is a very good question, and it cuts to the heart of actions that were made by the late great Sheldon Adelson. the owner of Las Vegas Sands and the founder owner of Las Vegas Sands and what was called Comdex. Um, Now it's called CES Las Vegas. He doesn't own that. But what happened was that um, Mr. Adelson was very upset that the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority was using public money to support and build and expand their convention center base. Now, you said I made that sound like it's a crime, right? Well, from his perspective, it was. Adelson was very much a private finance conservative guy. He believed that public money was for, crime prevention, social welfare, right? But not for business. Now, I disagree. Okay, let me get that on tape. As much as I admire Sheldon Adelson, I completely disagree. And not only that, Mr. Adelson himself proved that he didn't entirely buy his disagreement either. Now, here's why I say that. Because Adelson was so pissed off with Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority over the original plans for what's called the Southern Nevada Tourism and Infrastructure Act, which gave birth to Las Vegas Stadium, which is now called Allegiant Stadium. Okay, that Adelson was the one who went out and hunted for and got the Raiders to be interested in moving to Las Vegas, thinking, you know what, I'm going to stop this train of public money going to Las Vegas Convention facility, which is now finished and beautiful, all right, but damaging his Las Vegas Sands. He would have liked it better if the Clark County minders had partnered with him in Las Vegas Sands and expanded rather than expanding on their own. And, to be sure, they had some agreements, but nothing like the hundreds of millions that were going to expand the convention center and threaten to take business away from what was called Las Vegas Sands facility. Now has a different name. And if you're wondering what it's used for, well, if you're going to CES and you go to the Europe Pavilion or you go all the booths that represent countries and businesses that are in Europe, you're going to be going over there again. And so it's just connected right to the Venetian. Minute Maid Park is a good model that works. Why is that? Carlos says WrestleMania and Allegiant Stadium come. Yep. Does Oakland have a hex placed over it? What's going on now? Name me the one person that's taking charge. We know who's kicked out, right? But who's taking charge? What group is taking charge? In a way, that's quintessentially Oakland, right? When we did it in the past, it was with one mind. This one is kind of like, okay, we're doing this by process, but where is it going to get us? What's it going to get us in the future? We haven't figured that out because we haven't had that coming together. And I don't know when we're going to. New comments. Let's see here. Lots of comments here. Lots of comments. Oh, let's see here. MKE with a beautiful lake down by the Art Museum and Wisconsin Avenue, Minute Maid. Downtown reminds me of parts of Oakland. That's my new Oakland. I get you. Okay. Vegas marks is $40 million a year in terms of visitors and climbing. Soon Vegas will need that new airport. Yep. Reg says, thanks for the update about Mr. Henderson's memorial. It's tough, I'm sure. Was Foucher's instrued by Miss Pam Henderson? What happened? That gets into things I'm not going to put out right now. I go to a lot of Raiders games. We love to see visiting fans from other teams. I don't know why people keep acting like it's a bad thing. Stop by Lot B tailgate for free beers and visiting fans. Ding! There you go, folks. Shachai says, looking back at the whole stadium saga, is there a way teams can take minor league ballparks and make them major? It has to be a clever way to get around construction costs. Yeah, it's called numbers. I mean, the reason why minor league ballparks are minor is because they have small footprints of fans, not big ones. And hey, the Browns and Deshaun Watson revised their deal. Ooh, that's interesting. He has 2 years left on a 5-year, $230 million fully guaranteed contract. That deal can only have meant maybe he agreed to free up some money so that they could, I don't know, keep Jameis Winston? Who knows? Which would be cool. Okay? And so anyway, let's see here. Oh, and so anyway, I think, getting back to this. I'm sorry, not that. Where was I here? Let me get back to that one. He says, I don't think many visitors will go see a baseball game in a dome for very long, 5 years tops. But think about that. Every single year you have new fans being created. You say 5 years tops, that just keeps folding over onto itself. Sooner or later you have, a whole lifetime of people doing that sort of thing. Okay, so maybe it's 5 years for them, but hey, for the next person, they're just getting started. I mean, I'm just using your model. Okay, think these things through, man. Rex says, just found out 3 days ago, Oakland sportsman Sam Johnson, who grew up near Oakland, Oakland High School, passed. 65 back in May, days before his nephew Trey Johnson was to graduate from Berkeley. Oh, I'm really sad to hear that. Really sad to hear that. I don't know the man, but it's very sad. Rich says, Sam may have played against Rickey. Both were OAL standouts. Now it comes into my head. Wasn't his brother Kenny, who played quarterback at Skyline? Wow. Berkeley Yellow Jackets. He's a Raiders bandit invader. It's over. Get rid of it. Mike Brown, fired by the Kings, is wild. Sacramento sports is still a joke. Yeah, I want to dig into that one too. Already no Sherlock. I've been over it since 2023, so try again. Yeah, but you've been over it since just 2023? Sorry. I couldn't resist. So Chai says, breaking news. Derek Carr ruled out, will not be playing against Raiders. Whoa. That is breaking news. Derek Carr is ruled out. Will not be playing against his former team. Does that mean he's returning to Las Vegas? Well, he already signed with the Saints. But you never know, right? No, Derek Carr is injured. I don't see how Derek Carr finishes the next 2 years. That guy is injured. I mean, the Raiders are not in line for the playoffs. That ship sailed, obviously. They're not even in line for Shador, unless somebody makes a trade. Although I don't think Shador is going to make the big difference for them. But Shador would be huge. Go Sacramento A's and even C's. Took me a while. Yes, I can see that. Oh. Yawn. Kaval's damage has been done. He truly didn't like Oakland athletics fans. I don't think so. I think Dave is a very, how do I say it? He's a very even keel guy who I think a lot of people misread him. He's a calculating guy. Sometimes Dave is calculating to a fault. Sometimes my friend is calculating to a fault. Okay? And I think there are people who misread that, and they think it means he doesn't like them. Is he elitist? Well, yeah. So I mean, heck, I'm elitist. You know, yeah. So what? It just means you want the better things, the bigger things, the best approach. It also means you are of polite society, that you're not in people's faces, if you will. You're not treating in a way that's gauche. That you can agree to disagree. Okay. Derek Carr is still, yes, he is. Raiders are going to win their final 2 games. So Chai says, Chargers are going to rest starters. It's best for the Raiders to draft 2 quarterbacks instead of Dion. I think the best the best situation for the Raiders has nothing to do with quarterback and has everything to do with scheme. Okay? The Raiders have had great quarterbacks come in and out of that building. Coaching is the problem, just as that is for the rest of the National Football League. Hasn't figured it out. So now they go with the running quarterback. But the sloppy ball game, passing game, is the rule of the day today. Sloppiness. Look at the Cleveland Browns. Look at DTR. The lousy footwork. Jameis Winston's footwork was better because he worked on his footwork. No, you should have one standard of training for your quarterbacks. If you don't have that standard, you get wildly different outcomes. We see that in every team, which means the teams are not doing the jobs of training their quarterbacks. Okay? That's the problem. We don't need the Dion and the Blanker show in Vegas. Travis Hunter in mock draft. No, you need... Dion is not a show. Serious business. Travis Hunter in mock drafts going to Jacksonville. Yeah, but you know what, though? It'll be a trip, but I'm not sure. So you mean to tell me that Jacksonville's going to get another... Because Jacksonville originally had Jalen Ramsey. Okay? So you mean to tell me that we have to suffer and see Travis Hunter on another DB star on a team that basically wastes his talent? Okay? Fisher will sell the team before that dome stops drawing. Well, actually, he might. Because you can get a lot of... look, he'll come in with $1 billion. He'll leave. He'll go out with, what, $5 billion? Yeah, $5 billion. My prediction. Watch. Hey, I've been right about these things. I said to Jerry Jones in 2019 at the Raiders sponsor party at the Delano, which is now the W in Las Vegas. I said that the Dallas Cowboys are going to be worth $10 billion. He goes, yeah, I hope so. Ta-da! It's just the money's not in my pocket. Oh boy. Boggles my mind how a man comes out of college like Shiloh, the church boy, $11 million in debt to file for bankruptcy. Shiloh, the church boy, $11 million in debt to file for bankruptcy. Hey, it's been done. Yes, that's what's scary about Jacksonville. Yeah, you tell me about it. All right, folks, I've been around an hour, and I need to attend to some things. And I want to thank everybody for stopping by. Dave, if you're watching this, hey, man, I tried to present you in as best and yet honest way as I can. Nothing but love for you, brother. Artie Moss says, people act like changes in A's ownership or management will stop the move from Vegas. No, they won't. Look, no, I tell you, folks, that's not happening. If anything, the baseline level way to think about this is the Athletics. Oh, thank you very much. Happy New Year. Oh, it's very nice. Thank you for the 20 bomb. Appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. If anything that will happen from this, okay, is that the Athletics will wind up with a president that is more attuned to Las Vegas and Nevada culture than Bay Area culture with respect to sports and business. And I think that's what this is really all about. Okay? So again, thank you so very much. Hey, subscribe to Zenny62 Media. We're looking for investors. Zenny62 Media is a corporation. For those of you who don't know, we are a C Corp, and we do reputation management for clients because in the and we report the news. The reputation management money pays from the news, okay? But the reason for the structure is very simple. Because in an artificial intelligence world, you're going to need an organization that looks out for your online right to tell your story. Think about it. All these bots that are scraping sites and they're scraping information about you, maybe it's information that you don't want out there because it's wrong. So you call Zenny62 Media, and we'll straighten it out for you. That's what we do. All right? We have a very unique approach. That's what we do. You have the right to tell your story. It says right there, let us tell your story. That's what we do. Okay? And I'm telling you, this is a new market, folks. With AI, mark my words, okay? You mark my words with AI. All right? You're going to need organizations like Zenny62 Media. There aren't a lot of us around. I'm not talking about the reputation people that go and fix your Yelp results. No, I'm talking about putting out news about you and correcting others. Because, people, I saw one case very recently, ordinary people using Facebook, making their own Facebook pages to come up with fake news about somebody they didn't like who was in office. Seriously, I'm thinking, these people have time to do this? One hater of this person was on Facebook every other day from July 29th to Election Day. Think about that span of time. Every other day, putting out nothing but crap about this other person. That's the world today. All right. Happy New Year. Zen, enjoy the rest of your end of the year. I start Labor Day. Hey, you got it. Happy New Year, everybody. And again, thank you for watching. God bless you. And please be kind to each other. I can't say that. I cannot emphasize that more today. God bless you. Thanks. And that ends the stream.